Hello, all. A warm welcome to everyone tuning into the Oracle IAM Insight sessions today. My name is Prabhakar Neburi, a Principal Technical Support Engineer here at Oracle. Today, we will be covering topics on OAuth OpenID user info endpoints and its relevance in OAuth OpenID flow. I will be covering specific to Oracle Access Manager 12c PS4 with examples using REST API. We will be covering features of OAuth and OpenID and authorization framework. Further, we will be covering about configuring OAuth services in Oracle Access Manager. Then we'll cover details about user info endpoints and show some examples of using REST API to retrieve the user info profile and also configuring the various OAuth services. And finally, we'll summarize the topics we covered. First, we'll cover about OpenAuth, the OAuth OpenID framework. What is the meaning of the context of identity and access management framework, the various actors which are part of the OAuth and OpenID flow, and the different endpoint URLs which are, and the details using Oracle Access Manager 12c. First, we'll look into what is OAuth and OpenID. Let's understand the concepts of OAuth and OpenID. OAuth is a way to delegate authorization without sharing resource owner's credential. A first look at the name of the OAuth, one gets an impression that this is to do with authentication. It is not about authentication, but authorization between services or applications. It's a means to exchange credentials for an access token without sharing without sharing user credentials, and uses the access token to obtain the protected resource with resource owners authorizations. And it's an open standard authorization protocol. OpenID is a thin layer on top of OAuth, and it works with the underlying structure of OAuth. It's a means to secure delegated access to ascertain who the user is, and it implements authentication as extension to OAuth 2.0 authorization process. ID tokens are issued here, which contains the ID end user information, and it contains about user profile and other details are part of the identity of the authorization OAuth flow. Then moving further, the different actors in the OAuth and OpenID connection flow. We have the resource owner who owns the resource, and we have a resource server where it holds the resource and it accepts tokens and presents it to the client after getting the authorization or consent from the user. Then it has an authorization server. Basically, it issues tokens and validates tokens. It has the burden of security to ensure that access is given to the rightful client within the authorized scope. And we'll talk about scopes in the coming slides. Our client basically provides service to the resource owner on the allowed section of the resources. It is an application or API that needs access to the protected resource on behalf of the resource owner from the resource server with the authorization or consent from the resource owner. In some instances, the authorization server and the resource server is a single unit. Before processing a request, the client application need to have an existing registration with the OAuth and OpenID Connect servers here. We'll see how these are done using the Oracle Access Manager as we move forward. Before we go into further detail, let us first understand the typical flows about OAuth in the context of giving access to the client. There are, like we always cover about three-legged flow, which is a more secure and robust and extensive flow. We have like two-legged flow and three-legged flow in the OpenAuth here, in the OAuth protocol. The flow is basically like the client needs to access an protected application on behalf of the resource owner. In that process, the client makes a request and it requests to the authorization service to grant authorization for the protected resource on behalf of the resource owner. Before doing further, authorized server needs to obtain the consent from the end user and validate the end user credential before presenting the consent page. In this process, it collects the end user credentials by presenting a login page, and those presented credentials are validated and redirected to the authorization server for validation. Once the user is validated, then it provides a consent to the end user to obtain the consent whether the particular client who is making the request of the resource need to be granted or not. The user needs to give the consent, the consent page provided by the authorization service. And once the user gives the consent, basically an authorization code is returned to the client application. The authorization received by the client application is basically presented to the token service to obtain a token. Once the token service basically verifies the client and the user consent, and then returns the access token after validating the client and the user consent and client credentials. The presented or a validated access token is being presented to the resource server for granting access to the protected resource after validating the access token. If the token is deemed valid, the resource server returns the requested resource to the client. Some of the additional points to be noted here is in the OpenID Connect flows, when the client sends the authorization code to the token endpoint and exchange it for an ID token and an access token, the response body contains both the tokens in the OpenID Connect flow. If there is no OpenID flow here or no OpenID token requested, only the access token is being presented. As part of the ID token, the client validates the ID token and retrieves the user subject's identifier as part of the user profile. We'll see that in the coming slides. Then moving further, we have different grant types, clients and communication flow. Then we have this different grant types like authorization code flow, which is part of three-legged flow, which we saw in the previous example, where it uses both the front channel and the back channel. And it is the best and the most secure way of exchanging tokens. The back channel is highly secure and the front channel is less secure. In other two-legged flows, they use the front channel where the access token is used instead of the authorization code as part of the getting the token. This is used in a simpler form of applications like a single page or a mobile application. And some other grant types like resource owner credential or client credential uses only the back channel communication, and it is used in the situation where the clients are trusted and confidential clients as part of the OAuth flow. Moving further, these are the various REST endpoints. As a typical, some of the things are shown here, like one pertaining to the identity domain, pertaining to the resource, client, user info, security, consent. These are the various REST endpoints provided from the Oracle Access Manager side. For the full list of endpoints, we can refer to this documentation on the various endpoints available using REST API to configure and obtain the various OAuth OpenID resources, claims and scopes, and part of the two-legged and three-legged flows. Moving further, we see this, what are the tokens and scopes and claims. Basically, token client request authenticates with OAuth services and request token endpoint for OAuth access token from the authorization server. The access token basically is a short-lived token and it has an expiration date. Refresh token are usually the long-lived tokens. The refresh tokens are used to request new access token which are short-lived and after expiry. ID tokens are used for OpenID in the OAuth flow, which carries the identity information. Now, in part of this exchanging these various tokens, there are scopes and claims. What are scopes? Scopes is a way to limit application access to the user account details presented for consent. And these access tokens are issued are limited to the scopes granted by the resource owner on a client by client basis. Basically, it's a way to restrict access to sensitive information and securely, selectively enabling access by functionality. Then OpenID claims, basically it contains claims about the end user and authentication events. And as we mentioned earlier, OpenID Connect is a simple layer on top of OAuth 2 protocol. It allows the client to verify the identity of the end user based on the authentication performed by the authorization server. And it obtains basic user profile based on the authentication using REST API. OAuth purpose is to create and grant access token, and ID token is part of the OpenID flow, and it contains about the what you call the claims. One of the claims is the user info claims, and only claims that are scoped by the token will be returned as part of the OAuth OpenID flow. Then we look into how these various services are configured for OAuth and OpenID in Oracle Access Manager. Let's look into this further. Now, as part of the configuration of OAuth services, you need to create a identity domain. We'll show some REST API commands here, creating the identity domain and resource and the client. And there are various resources which are need to be configured in the Oracle Access Manager under the IAM Suite agent. I'll show here how this is seen here. If you look into the application domain under IAM Suite, you will see the various OAuth resources or endpoints which are created here. For example, if you look into, say, token, which is a endpoint configured under IAM Suite agent, we have OAuth to REST a token here. Similarly, if you want to look into some of the identity endpoints, these are the various things which are configured under this IAM Suite agent. You see the various identity resources configured under the IAM Suite agents. Similarly, if you want to choose OAuth 2 pertaining to OAuth here, OAuth 2.0, you see the various OAuth 2 REST endpoints like approval, consent, endpoint. Those are the things which you notice here. Similarly, as part of the three-legged flow, which we have seen earlier, we have like a consent page to be presented, which need to be protected. These are all configured under the IAM Suite agents here. So these are some of the things which you need to configure for OAuth services. Then the other one, we'll look at the examples about creating these various service like identity domain, resource, and client. Here, when you create an identity domain, basically here it's identity domain corresponds to the notion of a tenant. All the clients and resource servers are created under an identity domain. When you create an identity domain, you have to specify the identity provider where the user identity store is being referred to perform authentication against. There's some other attributes like error page, consent page, token settings, which are part of the configuration of identity domain. But if these are not provided like error page or consent page, then it defaults to the resources what is provided out of the box from the Oracle Access Manager. So this is a typical REST API endpoint creating identity domain, like creating the admin user password. Then you kind of give the REST API endpoint. Then you give a name to the domain. Then what is the identity provider used? What type of token? Whether access token, expiry time, refresh token used or not. So these are some of the basic parameters shown here. And here we see a typical example about when you execute a REST API command using the identity domain endpoint. by providing various parameters. You see there is a identity domain resource being created under these Oracle Access Manager OAuth services to be used. Here you will see that it has a consent page, it has a error page and refresh token, access token, whether the token is linked to the SSO session. So these are the various settings which are possible using the REST API for creating identity domain. Similarly, looking further into creating a resource, we have a resource endpoint. This is an example to show the resource server being created. Then we have other attributes, whether it attributes like session ID, whether it is dynamic or static, a resource server name, to which identity domain it belongs, what are the scopes allowed. All those things are part of the resource creation here. Moving further, we see what is like an example, how do you create a resource using REST API, and you see an example of creating the resource against an identity domain, and below you see the response or the update, what you call the resource being successfully created and the various attributes seen here. And if you don't give a default scope, what is the default scope? These are all the various things you can specify using REST API while creating the resource. Similarly, we have a REST API for creating the client. Again, it is against an entity domain. This is the REST API endpoint in creating a client. You specify various custom attributes, which resource server it refers to, and what type of the client ID and the client password, what is the redirect URI, list of URIs can be configured, and different grant types, scopes, and for all the like, details about the endpoints, you can refer to this documentation provided here in this link. Moving further, we have like OpenID tokens. Basically, the security token containing claims about the authentication of the end user. It contains end user information such as subject, issuer, audience, and timestamps. If you see there is a client ID, this is the client ID that is making request for this OpenID token, and the scope. What are the scopes? As we covered earlier, the way to limit the access to the user account details presented for consent. It is a way to restrict access to sensitive information which is enabled on a client by client basis. If the scopes are matched and valid and the consent is given, only those scopes are presented, and these are to the redirect URI, which the response where the response is sent and registered with the client as we seen earlier. Then we have the response type, with this access token or ID token. These are all part of the ID token particular attributes and other things when you create as part of the OAuth flow. Moving further, we'll see some details about the user info endpoints as part of the ID token. Now, going further, like let's understand what is this user info endpoint and the purpose. It is to obtain the claims for a user when the client makes a request to the user info endpoint using an access token, like we see in the typical three-legged flow or two-legged flow, and the credential which must be obtained through the OpenID Connect authentication. It contains scopes, and the client passes this access token to the user info endpoint, and after the proper validation and the validity is being checked, then the claims or basically the profile information is being presented by using the user info endpoint. There are various attributes which are presented like profile, details of the user, email, address, and other things which are part of the user info profile. Seeing forward, like what does a profile contains? It contains about the end user attributes, and we see a typical sample response here of various things which are being presented here as part of the attributes and claims here. And these are actually mapped against the physical attributes in the ID store as part of the IDP in the LDAP. And these are the various parameters like address, then email or phone, which are all part of the user info profile, which are mapped against the IDS profile behind, mapped to this attribute what you are trying to get through the ID token. Let's look at some of these examples here. Like if you look into the User info here under configuration. And if you see under configuration, you see under IDS profile, you see these OUD, for example, backend store, the various physical attributes, how they are mapped to the logical names under the OpenID user info here. So if you look at the user entity attributes, you see how various things are physically mapped to the backend store here. So the typical example like a first name, last name, middle name, or display name. If you scroll down, you see various attributes, how they are mapped into the backend LDAP attributes. Moving further, we see that's a typical like how these are mapped into the backend store, and we have a LDAP authentication module here, and then we see using this endpoint user info and using a REST API, using a get option here representing the user info endpoint and the authorization code and the access token which contains the ID token. This is the sample response, what you see, getting the user info profile response here, like different attributes you see here. Moving further, if you see here, then we have what is called the OpenID Connect Discovery Endpoint. Basically, OpenID Connect Discovery Endpoint is a process of determining the location of the OpenID provider. The discovery endpoint can be used to retrieve metadata about the provider. And this is exposed by the interface, the well-known attribute here, which is kind of pointing to the OpenID provider, and which contains about the metadata about the provider. And these are configured and exposed with the well-known OpenID configuration, which is listed as a resource here for the OpenID discovery endpoint under the IAM Suite agent. And we will set the well-known resource configuration in the mod WLS OHS conf file. Let's look in this in the coming slide. So this is this configuration under the mod WLS OHS.conf file, where you specify these endpoint, export the well-known, and you specify the Oracle Access Manager host and port. And by using the get option on this export well-known OpenID configuration, basically it returns all the endpoints here which are associated here. This is a sample response where you see the token endpoint, user info endpoint, the ID token, when you have the client credentials, refresh tokens. These are all part of the OpenID well-known the discovery point with the well-known provider, like exposed through the OAuth framework. As I said, you see the different endpoint like authorization endpoint, grant type, scopes, ID token, and everything. Moving further, this is just to illustrate that there is OAM12CPS4. There are some changes, like the parameters like profile, email, address, and phone are all configured under the root tag instead of separate containers seen prior to PS4. But if one needs to return values prior to PS4, other than all on the root tag, there is a parameter which you need to set at the domain level. It's known as user info scope cont. That one has to be provided, and this here in that case, the user attribute will not be provided or listed under the same root tag like we have seen here. Similarly, you see the email verified and the phone verified tags are listed as Boolean, unlike the prior one which used to have a string value like yes and no. We'll see some typical REST API endpoints and retrieving the user profile, user info profile, and getting different scopes here. Now here, this is one example about fetching the OpenID scopes. And here you are getting all the scopes, and you see the endpoint used here using the authorization code pertaining to the domain name, the client name, the resource server, what scopes you are using like address, email, scope. These are all the scopes which are returned. By using the sample request using the REST API for the user info endpoint and presenting the bearer token against the identity domain. You see, this is the sample response presenting the user info profile and providing all the scopes requested here, like address, email, phone, and profile of the user. These scopes can be restricted. Basically here, if you see an example here in the endpoint, you're only restricting the scope to OpenID email and presenting the response only present the email on to the sample request by providing this endpoint here by using the bearer token against the identity domain. A similar example, if you see here, basically here you only are getting the address of the user, the scope what is being requested here using the endpoint, and you see the sample command issued against the user info endpoint, and this is the response you get for the address. So this is an example to illustrate how the various scopes can be retrieved by using these authorization endpoint against the user info using REST API. So to summarize the topics what we covered so far, basically we summarized about OAuth OpenID flows, the various actors in the flow, the different grant types, claims, scopes, and we covered a typical three-legged flow. And OpenID basically is a thin layer on top of OAuth protocol used for user identification and retrieving user attributes as part of the claims scope from the user endpoint. We showed some examples using REST API endpoint, how to retrieve the user info attributes by limiting the scope. These are some of the documentation and link references which are useful if you want to delve further into detail. This is an Oracle documentation, and some of them are like blogs presented from the Oracle employees. And this is one of the A-team blog, which you get more details about OpenID Connect and how do you delegate authentication for Oracle Identity Cloud Service using again Oracle Access Manager here. Then we have other resources pertaining to OpenID Net about the user info scope and claims for more details if you are interested in further knowing the details. Thank you again for tuning into Oracle IAM Insight session. We look forward for seeing you at the next one. Thank you.